Now is Josh Holmes, former chief of staff for Senator Mitch McConnell, and Jim Kessler, former policy director for Senator Chuck Schumer and a co-founder of Third Way. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Josh, if you're looking at this, not for what you like and don't like, but look at it strictly as you want to pick up more votes, what's one thing you would add or eliminate from the bill as it exists?
Well, as you know, Melissa, everything is intertwined. And the problem with big tax packages is that anything you take out or put in changes the dials on a whole bunch of other things. And so you've got to be very careful.
Sure.
The one thing that you've really got to do, though, is you can't pilot in provisions that nobody's talked about before in the last minute without doing a full check and making sure where your votes are, because at this point the only thing that really matters is that you get enough to pass this and get it to the president's desk. And so
without question, but do you see something? I mean, that's what we're talking about, the fact that it's all about the votes. What would help? Do you see anything that would help with the tinkering, or are you saying this is the best shot?
Yeah, no, look, I think there are a couple of things I think they're going to have to address. They've been talking about this estate tax provision for a long time. It's got a huge number associated with it, 150 to 250 billion. They're talking about marketing this as a middle-class tax cut. It's hard to see how that's compatible with that.
So get rid of that.
You could potentially trade it off for an increased child tax credit or a lower individual rate. I think both of those things would be helpful.
Jim, what's one change you would make that would pick up more votes? I mean, maybe could pick up a few Democrats. What's the change that would do that?
Well, definitely get rid of that estate tax. It's a big number. It goes to 2 out of every 1,000 people who pass away, and those are the people who are worth over $10 million. It is not needed. I would make some changes with what's called stepped-up basis, which is a way for people, again, with heirs, when people pass money along, that the value of their stock is taxed at the price that it is now as opposed to when it was bought.
Interesting.
And then I would turn it into something that that helps the middle class. And then just one other thing, Melissa, I would just make sure that the price tag on this, that the deficit is not going to go up by $2 trillion. Like, we've got to bring that overall number down. We've got to have more pay-fors in this. And I think you could attract some Democrats if some changes were made.
Yeah, I mean, I will let that lie when you talk about the pay-fors, because I think the way of doing math on this thing with the static accounting doesn't make a lot of sense. And the pay-for, you could pay for it by cutting spending, but that's probably a discussion for another time. I like where we're going with the good fixes. Josh, so it's my theory that sometimes they put something out there knowing what they're going to give away ahead of time. Do you think that is this change to the estate tax? Maybe they don't think it's going to get over the finish line with that, and it's meant as the chip to be bargained away.
It could very well be. And look, we're dealing with some seasoned legislators here at this point, and I think that they've been working on this. Republicans have really been working on this for the last 2 decades. I mean, this is not policy that's unfamiliar to the folks who are running it at this point. And so knowing where the votes are a big component of it. They've been debating it all year. There could very well be built-in negotiations away. It is going to look a little different. There is no question. We're in a honeymoon phase right now. I think as we go through the committee process and get it onto the floor, this is going to look a little different before it gets into law.
I don't know if it feels very honeymoon, but Jim, real quick before we go, if they got rid of that estate tax, do you think that this would have a chance of passing?
Well, I think it has a chance of passing because, you can do it with just all Republican votes. But I think, this estate tax would be one thing. Making it so that different regions of the country aren't treated so differently. So this is a very, very bad tax bill. If you're in about 12 states, it's a horrible tax bill.
They don't tax so much in those states. If they don't tax so much in those states, they'd be all right.
Interesting. All right, we'll see. Gentlemen, we made progress. Let's leave it there. We did well. Thanks, guys.
All righty.
Thank you.